Hey, Bulls and Bears, how are we doing? I hope you're well. My name is JJ, and you're watching Bull, Boom, Bear, Bust, also known as BX4 because of the four Bs. Somebody was asking me about that. Bull, Boom, Bear, Bust. I don't know where I come up with that name. It's just something that I thought of back when I first started, and I wasn't even going to make a channel. I was just going to put out a video, one video. Here we are years later. I kind of got hooked on this stuff. So thank you all for being here. The U.S. economy, let's get right into it. The U.S. economy broke another record, and it's not a good one. Let's get right into it. This is out of AP. Several other news outlets picked this up here. A record number of Americans cannot afford their rent, and lawmakers are scrambling. What did I tell you during the 3 years after 2020, all the way just recently at the end of last year, when certain cities were still um, implementing or still staying with the moratoriums for evictions? We said that it's not going to get better. And there's a reason why they had to keep these eviction protections in place for years. There were groups out there holding signs and stuff like that saying that these protections should have been in place permanently. But that equals free housing. Somebody's got to pay for it. Somebody owns the home. So the whole free housing thing is pretty ridiculous. But then on the other hand, some people look at all the money that's created and sent out all over the world. Some people say, well, we could have free housing if they would just stop handing out all this money and printing. If they're going to print this money, what some people are arguing is that it should go towards just paying free rent for everybody, which, I mean, I could see their point, but I mean, something else has got to be a solution here. A record number of Americans can't afford their rent. And I don't like being right about these things. You know, this is something that we said years ago. I think we were one of the only channels, probably the only channel out there, telling you that all these protections, all this money being thrown at the problem was not the solution. The solution would actually be allowing prices to correct, stop throwing so much money at the problem, and just let a free market take hold. When free markets take hold, things magically line up the way they should. When people are no longer able to borrow tons of money, when they stop creating a bunch of money, prices realign with what people can actually afford. Now, not how much people can borrow, now not how much you could print and go deeper into debt, national debt, all the above, personal debt. Um, Prices become affordable. It's not magic though; it's just common sense. It's just the way things work in a free market. Single mom Caitlin Colbert watched as rent for her two-bedroom apartment doubled, then tripled, then quadrupled over a decade. So in 10 years, quadrupling. Listen to this, from $750 to $3,374 a month. That's in Denver. Every month, like millions of Americans, she struggled with her cost, pay rent or swim team fees for one of her three kids. Okay, rent their school supplies. So basically, she had to cut back in a lot of other areas just to be able to make the rent, including cutting back on school supplies. She is a social worker, wow, who helps people stay financially afloat. This is sad, folks. Would often arrive home to notices on her door giving her 30 days to pay the rent or get out. And she's someone that counsels people, a social worker that counsels people on staying financially afloat. No matter how smart you are, keeping up with the rent that quadruples over 10 years, that's a pretty big rate increase every year. I apologize. I've got to take drinks during this report because some reason I've got this real hot tea. I can't get warm today. It's really rainy here in San Diego, and I just can't get warm. So I've got to drink this hot tea just to keep from my bones from chilling here. Quote, every month you just have to be on budget and you still fall short. Well, this month we have $13 left, is what she said. Folks, this is sad, but it's not shocking. It's not surprising because we've been talking about this for years. We said that all these protections were just band-aids on a broken leg. How many times have I said that here? Um, what's being done is not fixing the problem. You have to allow prices to come down. There's many things they could do to fix this, but it's not being done. Eviction filings are 50% higher than they were during the time of the pandemic. 50% higher. So let me ask you, what good did all these programs do? They delayed the inevitable. They delayed what's happening now from happening 3 years ago. We're in a selection year. So it seems to me like they need to re-implement these things. We know that homelessness got a lot worse. Let me just bring this up here, also out of the AP. Homelessness up 12% to highest reported level on record. Another record. So another quarter, another 3 months, another record homelessness. As rents soar, and folks, it's not going to stop. They are telling us that the money supply is shrinking. Well, they're talking about the physical money. They're talking about the coins and the paper because they're trying to push everybody towards digital. But when you look at the money that's being pumped into the economy, aka borrowed, just look at the national debt. It's not slowing down. In fact, it's actually increasing. So, people thinking that inflation is going to become under control. The only way to stop this is to stop the flow of money. Banks have to be regulated a lot harder, and they have to stop being able to loan out money that they don't have, because that's what's causing price inflation. Of course, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle, and supply chain issues, the cost of manufacturing things, the cost of energy, the cost of transporting goods, all the above, making things much more expensive than they really should be. Back before we had the ability to just loan out money that didn't exist, just loan out money, digitally on a screen, things were again magically affordable. And I say magically, it's not really magic. It's just when you can't borrow money and when you can't conjure up money out of nothing, out of thin air, then businesses, landlords, car dealers, they can only charge for their goods or products or services what people can afford, what people have money to pay for right at that time, not how much they can borrow. So you see what I'm getting at here? It's the entire system that's flawed. So a spending package over here, a Inflation Reduction Act over here, a rescue program over here. We're going to cancel rents for a certain set amount of time. All these things are meaningless. I shouldn't say meaningless because they stop the bad things from happening right away, and they kick the can down the road. How many times have we said that? Can we keep? If I can talk, can we keep kicking the can down the road forever? Well, obviously, we're seeing the consequences already of kicking the can. We see the cost of living exploded over the past few years. A lot of people are on their way towards bankruptcy, sadly, and we see the very top 10% of the wealth owners in this country, and mostly around the world too, but top 10% continue to um, gain massive amounts of wealth. So as fast as the bottom 70% is going broke, the top 10%, even faster actually, is getting wealthier and wealthier. What's going to change it? Please let me know down in the comments, because I don't like coming here every day having to report these things. But these are the things I'm concerned about. Maybe if I didn't have kids, I wouldn't care so much, because I do talk to people. They have no idea that this is even going on. If it doesn't affect them, they don't care. As long as they can watch their sports game on TV, as long as they can have their pint of ice cream or whatever they do, there's a lot of people out there that just don't care to know, what a lot of society, what a lot of the population is actually going through. So it's pretty interesting. Maybe if I didn't have kids, maybe I'd be one of those people. But I actually am really concerned about the young people in this country, not just my kids, but just in general. And folks, on the heels of all this, stock markets today, I'm recording this on Wednesday, February 7th. Stock markets today, most of the indices in the green, all indices in the green actually, except for the Russell 2000, which was down slightly. But, the stock market is ignoring what's really happening on Main Street. Look at the U.S. consumers, even the ones that aren't losing their home and not able to pay their rent. Their savings is plunging. This U.S. savings rate for people, meaning how much money people have left over at the end of the month after paying all their expenses. That amount is dwindling. So not only do we have record-breaking numbers of people that can't pay their rent, record-breaking homelessness, we have this problem accelerating. So things are not only getting worse, they're getting worse at a faster and faster pace each time we look at it. All right, so maybe there's some good news we can dig up today. Let me see. I was looking through some news earlier, and I think I found something. Okay, so this was widely reported. The average used car price came down again. And the way it is now, used vehicle wholesale prices gave up 55% of their spike since 2020. So they went up 50%, 55%, but now they've given up about half of that. Historic plunge is what it's being called. That's how Wolf Street put it out there. And I'm going to bring up a chart here because this is, I just love giving you visuals, and Wolf Richter's very good at doing this, giving these charts. And scroll up a little bit here so you can see. Actually, make myself a little bit smaller here if I can, so you can see clearly. And you can see the top of the chart as well. All right. Manheim Used Vehicle Index. Look at that spike. Well, we've given up about half of that now. And this is with still the banks, willing to loan out money. What a lot of it is a lot of people are trying to trade in their vehicle, but they're underwater now. So even lenders that want to loan out money, dealers that want to get you behind a wheel of a new vehicle or used vehicle, they just can't do it. They can't justify the insanity much longer. I mean, people are still getting car loans, but it's just getting to the point where it just doesn't make sense, even though we still have money flowing into the economy like never before. I mean, the amount of debt creation is just off the charts. All right, so there's a little bit of good news, folks. I was looking through another thing earlier here. We're seeing a big slowdown in the car market, and thus we're going to have a lot more job losses in that industry. Look at this. We've got Tesla bracing for potential layoffs. We probably know, you should know anyways, if you've been on this channel, that the cost of electric vehicles, the price of electric vehicles actually led the way down, and we saw a big plunge in electric vehicles, and the demand is starting to shift back towards regular vehicles from what I read as well. I'll have to get you the numbers on that and go over more details on that in a different report. So we're seeing some things shift. I'm still seeing more bad than good. If you're doing good right now, I hope that's the case, and I hope it stays that way. Do you see yourself on a trajectory to do better a year from now, or are things headed in the wrong direction? Are you getting further into debt, or are you paying your debt off and saving more each month versus, like most people, going further into debt and savings dwindling? All right. So if you're on that other side, I think you're in the small percentage of the population, but I hope that is you, and most people, hopefully all people here on this channel, hope that's you. If not, there is the lifeline of bankruptcy. I talk about that a lot here because that's one of the things I believe that has people still spending money. They know that there's always the escape jail card, or get out of jail free card, as some might call it. And some people may end up doing that, but it's not the end of the world. On one hand, you've got to be critical of the system here. On the other hand, you have to say, well, thank goodness there's still protections in place. But what are these people going to do when there's no housing left after they get evicted? Look at the population exploding here. We've got new people coming to the country like never before. Population exploding. Homes not being built, not even close. Homes not being built fast enough to meet the demand of the population that's growing. Right. So let's be on the lookout, folks. Let's look for good investment opportunities to stay ahead of the curve on this. I still think silver is going to take off here in the future. I'm not sure how far into the future. First, we're going to go towards this push for a digital currency, whole new set of rules. They're going to try to implement and bring down, on the population here. And the bankers that are running this economy and running everything, they've got some plans for us. But I think we're going to see some real bad things pop off here in 2024. So be ready. Be ready for, something to drop any day, but also be ready for things to just continue the way they've been going, and get ready for more inflation, folks. I wish I had better news to tell you, but that's what's going on. Please let me know what you think about all this down in comments. What do you think about the quadrupling of the rent for that family in Denver? And the other news here, the record-setting homelessness now. What was the other record that we set here? Evictions 50% higher. A record number of Americans can't pay their rent. So not a good record to have to report, but that's the facts, folks. That's the facts, people. That's what's happening. So we'll see you very soon here hopefully some better news next time. All right. Bye now. Hope you're good. Bye now.